you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Verdane TV. We are here live for race number 2 of the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series for the SIM500 League here at the Michigan International Speedway in Brooklyn, Michigan. Good evening again, everybody. My name is Kyle Young, one of the multiple voices you will hear throughout tonight's broadcast. Of course, as always, we have Paul Showtime Strickland Jr. on the cameras, pressing the buttons, doing all the pretty graphical stuff that neither I or Kevin can do. And sitting next to me, as I just said, Kevin England calling the action with me. Kevin, how are we doing tonight?
Fantastic, Kyle. Looking forward to a great race. We got the restrictor plate melee out of the way, and we're now to a super speedway. This is going to be pretty exciting.
It very well should be, Kevin. 75 laps tonight here at the Michigan International Speedway. We will be using the older version of the Michigan International Speedway of the two on the iRacing surface, so the worn-out pavement instead of the new, fresh pavement that we have on here. Looks like we've got 31 cars inside the server, 24 of them qualified out of those 31, so a very big field of race cars here tonight. Qualifying times looking very good. Everybody qualifying within about 0.8 of a second of each other. This should be a very competitive race.
Yeah, 75 laps of distance. This racetrack, a little bit tricky. You just have to drive the car down in the corner, find your groove, and see what it'll give you coming out to the straightaway. We go through the starting lineup here tonight. On the pole, the number 2, Cole Dutton. Outside pole, Jason Barham in the number 99.
Inside of row number 2, starting third, is the 6 machine of Corey Chester, and Tyler Dalton in car number 9 will line up next to him in 4th.
5th place, last week's winner, the number 5 of Mike Kelly.
And starting in position number 6 in the 07 is Seth Harrelson.
Tim Wordman starts in the 83, 7th position. 41 is EJ O'Rourke, starting 8th.
Completing your top 10, starting in 9th in the 43 is Reed Rundell, and rounding out that top 10 spot in position number 10 is the 38 of Chad Coleman.
Mitch Rollo in the 98 starts off in the 11th position, and outside row number 6, Ricky Hardin in the number 15.
13th place starter in car number 12 is Scott Simley, and Randy Yoakum in the number 8 will start in position 14.
15th tonight is Shannon Wood, and on the outside, Todd Kirkwood in the 94.
Completing the top 20 before we go green, Jimmy Coleman in 17th, Glenn Campbell in 18th, Don Runkle Jr. in 19th, and James Somke in position number 20. The pace car has ducked down to the safety of pit road. Flagger throws the green flag in the air, and the Michigan 150 here for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series is underway. Cole Dutton getting out to the early lead. He's able to clear Jason Barham on the top side. He'll move up to that outer groove to block his lane and lead this hungry field of drivers into turns number 1 and 2 for the first time. Top 3 now are single file. We've already got contact in 2 cars in the outside wall. A few cars scattered behind to avoid him. Everybody keeps it straight. Looks like we're going to stay green.
Top 2 cars broke away. They were running side by side off that tricky turn number 2. Everybody able to gather it up. One car going slow as we see side by side action for the 38 and the number 6. And they are coming off of turn number 4, just trying to find their pace as we complete lap number 1.
That battle now goes to a 3-wide fight. It will end with the 38 of Chad Coleman getting around the 6 machine. Now here comes on the inside the 98 car, looking for a position. The 98 driven by Mitch Rollo. Rollo will go around the 6 car of Corey Chester and take that position away. Now the 15 of Ricky Hardin looking to try to do the same. Not quite underneath of him down the backstretch just yet. He's peeking a nose. Maybe gets underneath the left rear quarter panel and now drives it in deep, pulls even with the number 6. And just about clears, getting into the center. A great entry there for Ricky Hardin.
Dutton, your leader, under attack from the number 99. They're going down across the front straightaway. They sometimes will go down on that apron for entry, but they've got to sweep back up and make that drive into turn number 2, side by side into turn number 1. Big, wide, sweeping change by Cole Dutton on the outside, but the 99 of Jason Barham holding tight there, nose to the backstretch.
Give the advantage coming off at turn number 2 to Cole Dutton. Barham still hanging tough on the inside corner panel of Cole Dutton's number 2 machine. They'll drive it back into turn number 3. Barham now with the advantage, pokes the nose ahead in the center of 3 and 4. What does Dutton have in response? He goes even coming off at turn number 4. These two not letting each other get any advantage, still fighting hard at the line. This time by, it will still be Cole Dutton. He leads it at the completion of lap number 3. Barham still on the inside. A bit of a wiggle there by Barham going into turn number 1, and it looks like Dutton's going to clear.
Finally, Dutton's able to get away, and he's going to get a car length gap as they go off to the backstretch, coming back to the 3rd position. The number 9 of Tyler Dalton just watching all that action and just trying to figure out whether or not he can pick up a little bit of a draft as he goes down the backstretch into turn number 3. And he's hunting the leaders. You got to take care of your tires here tonight, Kyle.
Indeed you do, Kevin. These guys only having one extra set of tires for this 75-lap race, so it's going to be extremely important to manage those tires and then figure out where you are going to use that extra set that you have laying in the pits. Tire strategy now very important in the iRacing sim with the addition of the tire set limit. We'll see that play out tonight, and of course with Michigan being this a very slippery racetrack, a very wide racetrack, tires will absolutely be a factor in tonight's race.
The 99 Dick Trickle scheme coming up close to the number 2, right on the back bumper, not shaking. Dutton comes out of turn number 4. The 99 picks low, is going to come down, get the draft. And I think he could get the pass here if he could just clear him on the entry to turn number 1. He's got enough advantage, but Cole Dutton able to hold the momentum on the outside. But we have a new leader as the 99. Jason Barham takes over. He's got a car length lead to the backstretch.
First pass of the lead here by Jason Barham. We'd like to thank everybody watching from the Dick Trickle Memorial page. Of course, their paint scheme currently out in front of this one just took over the race lead after a great battle there with Cole Dutton. So all of those fans extremely happy with what they're seeing here in the early going. Looks like we got a battle heating up here for position number 3. The 41 of EJ O'Rourke has peeked to the inside of Tyler Dalton's number 9 car. O'Rourke moving up through the field here. A few positions already up from position number 8. He makes quick work on Tyler Dalton. So move the 41 of EJ O'Rourke up to position number 3. That is plus 5 positions here in these first 6 laps. EJ O'Rourke making quick work of the field so far.
7 laps in of 75. We're rolling off the laps very quickly here as everybody's kind of settled in right now, looking what they're got a couple key competitors sitting in that top group. Last week's winner, Mike Kelly, following that draft right through the middle, trying to work his way forward as he and Wertman were side by side at one point. Now Kelly gets the advantage and he's hunting the bottom of the number 9.
The battle for the lead has once again spiced up, and Cole Dutton has retaken the top spot away from Jason Barham. And now look what we got here, Kevin. We've got about 7 cars, it looks like now, kind of in a pack together. The early advantage that we saw Dutton and Barham hold over the field has disappeared. Top 7 cars all underneath the blanket, looking to dice it up and race here hard early on in this Michigan 150.
Yeah, everybody is trying to go as fast as they can, but also try to conserve those tires for the long run. If we get one of those long runs, tires go away. Tire wear is a factor here. You basically enter the car into the corner, pitch it in, wait for it to take a set. Maybe you tap the brake to settle it down. Try not to squeeze up, and then you roll off the wall. We're going to take a lap right now with Mike Kelly. He's down low, out of turn number 2, hunting the number 9. He lets the car drift up to the backstretch, runs just a little bit off. He probably will turn up just a smidge and then turn down into the corner. He's going to follow the car right in the tire tracks. The car pushes really heavy here through the center of the corner. You're waiting for the car to hook, and then you're hoping that it will drive off solidly to the front straightaway. He gets a good run. He comes down to the apron. He's going to take as much advantage of that momentum that he gained as he can. He's going to let off a little bit early here, make sure he can keep his car low, and he's going to see if he can drive in and complete the pass.
And that is exactly what he does going into turn number 1. Tyler Dalton sacrificing that position to Mike Kelly. So move Mike Kelly into position number 4. That creates a little bit of a gap up to those top 3 now that have been able to separate themselves. Reed Rundell all over the back bumper of the number 9 car now. He is trying to take over the same position there that Mike Kelly just was able to get away from the number 9 machine. He'll peek to the inside coming off of turn number 4. Not quite there yet. Dalton will also follow him down to the white line and block that momentum off, keep the draft going. Once again, battle for the lead, but this time we got a new contender. It's the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke.
O'Rourke was hunting the bottom of the number 2 for a lap and a half, and then all of a sudden down the front stretch he just squirted out front, was able to get advantage, and now we have a new leader with Dalton riding in the tire trucks of O'Rourke. I don't know if he's going to look low. Maybe he's just going to ride for a little bit and see what the lane is that O'Rourke is using.
A very impressive drive to the front of the field for E.J. O'Rourke. Started in 8th. He got the lead by the completion of lap number 10. We were just talking about tire management. It makes you wonder how hard E.J. is pushing the tires on that Gary Mercer Trucking number 41 machine. If he's using this stuff up to get to the front of the field, or maybe he's just finding a way to manage these tires very well while also being faster than his competition. Should be very fun to see what he's able to do, but so far, this first lap, while having the lead, he hasn't been able to escape the clutches of Cole Dutton. Dutton's been all over that back bumper, shoving him down the back straightaway and into turn number 3.
He lays off a little bit as he gets into the corner, giving some space. He's going to look to see if he can turn low, maybe get some air on the left front corner of the car, help it turn coming up out of the corner. He carries a lot of momentum. I don't believe he's going to take any opportunity here, but just follow in the tracks and settle in. These drivers, what a difference from last week. They have a lot of place to race and a lot of grooves to choose. They can pick and choose where they're going to go, how hard they're going to drive in. And ideally, Kyle, you need to make sure you save that right front tire.
Indeed you do. As these laps wind down, as this run continues to progress, tires obviously going to wear away, and the right front is one of the most important tires to keep underneath of you. The more you wear that tire, the more you are going to shove on corner entry, so managing the wear and the heat in that right front will prove to be very vital throughout tonight's event. Side by side for position number 2, Cole Dutton and Jason Barham going at it once again. No surprise there. Dutton will hang on to that, and now Mike Kelly gets to the outside of Barham's number 99 machine. Barham the only one down on the bottom, everybody looking to the outside behind him. Kelly will complete the pass, and now that opens the door for Tyler Dalton to attempt to do the same thing through the center of 1 and 2. Barham looks like he's got the advantage through the center of 1 and 2. What happens coming off of turn number 2? Looks like it's even going down the back straightaway. Slight advantage to Tyler Dalton. The 99 at the door of the number 9 machine going into turn number 3. Dalton completes the pass, and here comes Reed Rundell to try to do the same.
Yeah, Dalton's just rolling the corner a lot better. The 99 is tight down on the bottom, which is scrubbing off a little speed. He didn't get a good run up off the corner. That's going to give the opportunity for Reed to take a peek on the inside. He's got good momentum. He's in the same boat as the 99 was, where he's down low, not able to hold the car, but he got to really turn in. Is look behind him, Tim Wertman Jr. trying to follow his way through. His contact out of turn number 2. Reed slipped up a little bit. That allowed Jason Barham to sneak away, but it's also going to allow Timothy Wertman to come through and make the pass.
Wertman and Rundell are side by side going into turn number 3. Wertman will complete the pass in the center. No, he won't. Rundell is going to hang on that right rear corner panel just a little bit longer while these two get side by side. That allows Chad Coleman to enter the mix here as he's rolling up on this battle, looking to make it a 3-car battle for position number 7. It's very surprising to see how just these slight little side-by-side battles can bring the cars from behind in and separate these guys from the cars ahead. Now the 43 gets clear of the 83. Here comes the 38 of Chad Coleman, makes the pass, and now the 98 of Mitch Rollo going to jump to the outside and try to follow suit.
Up front, the action's heating up. It's the top 3 running nose to tail. Mike Kelly has caught the top 2. It continues to be E.J. O'Rourke out front from an 8th starting spot. And up high goes the number 2. Looking to the outside, but look who's filling in the bottom there. Kelly is going to see if he can follow his leader through and get that second position.
I was curious to see if he was going to throw it 3 wide going into turn number 1 there, but he thought better of it, decided to follow EJ O'Rourke into turn number 1 and pulls to the inside of Cole Dutton there. Dutton will have the advantage coming off of turn 2 and clear going down the back straightaway. Kelly still peeking to the inside a little bit down the back. Maybe he's going to try it again into turn number 3. He does not, stays in line, and now the top 4 cars closing in on each other. Barham in the 99, not too far behind there in position number 5. So fantastic racing here in the early stages of the Michigan 150. Great battles up front. We're seeing lots of side-by-side. Clean racing, good passes, very fun stuff to watch.
17 laps in the book. Working lap number 18. Quarter mark of the race is flown by. We'll give a quick field rundown. EJ O'Rourke leading, Cole Dutton in second, Mike Kelly, Tyler Dalton, Jason Barron round up your top 5. Reed Rundle, Chad Coleman, Mitch Rollo, Timothy Wertman, Scott Simley, Mike Montesi, and then Glenn Campbell. Looking out back, it doesn't give a lot of credit to guys like HARDIN, Stouffer, Wood, Yoakum, those guys running back there. They run every bit as hard as these leaders are out in the back.
Indeed, they are. Still lots of cars battling for position throughout the field. And I think a quick shout out is deserved here for the 14th place driver. That's the 13 car of Chris Stouffer. Stouffer is, well, he's actually working over Ricky Hardin there for position number 13. He has made a great charge through the field here in the early going. He is already up 11 positions. He's going for position number 12. Started back in that 25th place position. He's in 14th, looking to take over 13th from Ricky Hardin, and I believe he's going to do so going into turn number 3 here. No, not quite. Ricky Hardin with a great entry there on the outside, going to pull even, but through the center now that Richard Petty lookalike will clear, and that makes it plus 12 for the 13 of Chris Stouffer.
Another noticeable run is the 22 of Mike Montesi, started 22nd, but going the opposite way is Corey Chester, your third place starter. He's running back in the field. That's probably the car that made contact with the outside fence there on lap number 1.
Continuing to watch this battle here, just fantastic stuff all the way through, just outside of the top 10. Now Stouffer going to make it an attempt to grab another position to the inside of Glenn Campbell in the 44 ride. Side by side into turn number 3, the 13 and the 44. Ricky Hardin close behind. They've got right in front of them the 7 of Mike Montesi trying to escape that battle. Stouffer will jump down to the white line. Hardin looking to fill the void in the middle, but that hole is going to close up and he'll have to stay at bay for now.
Watching all this racing is making me hungry. We want to talk about our friends from Kick-Ass Beef Jerky. It's that good. Kick-Ass has a wide array of products to offer. Of course, they have beef jerky, but there's so much more. Snack sticks, pickled products, soaps, and even Bloody Mary mixes. You could buy a mix of products to suit you or select from their hand-picked gift and variety packs. While you're there, consider showing support for the series by browsing their branded apparel and accessories. Let them know you're supporting SIM500 by taking advantage of the SIM500 promo code. Cha-ching! Ring up 19% off at your checkout. Kick-Ass Beef Jerky stands behind everything they have to offer. You can count on their products being fresh when they reach your door. They guarantee it with a 100% money-back guarantee. Live a kick-ass life. That's what you got to do. Man, I'll tell you what, I'm watching these guys, and I got to be nervous for some of them, Kyle. They're just trying to do what they can to stay in touch with the leaders here, but they've got to be running the cars hard.
Without a doubt, we saw there a few laps ago, just as you were kicking off that promotion, that Ricky Hardin made a big mistake coming off of turn number 2 and got all sorts of out of shape. He was able to gather it up, so you can definitely tell that things are getting more difficult for these drivers. We're 22 laps into this opening run. Tires are starting to wear away, as we've said. You're trying to do what you can to compete with the cars around you, stay in touch with those in front of you to try to reel them in. It's only going to get worse as this green flag run continues to progress. These guys really going to have to wheel these machines around this 2-mile speedway.
You have to think about the dynamic of when to pit. 63 laps is the distance you can go on a tank of fuel, which means they're going to have to make one pit stop. A lot of these drivers probably counting on a caution somewhere in the mix here, but if they don't, you're going to be looking at green flag pit stops, and your optimal choice is to pit somewhere around halfway.
You can see the information on your screen right there. These guys dealing with 77-degree temperatures outside, track temperature at 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So for those that are a little bit newer to how temperatures affect the racing surface, the hotter the surface is, the greasier it is, the slimier it is, the harder it is to find traction and to find grip. So you would ideally like the racetrack to be as cold as possible, but that's just not happening right now. 100 degrees on the racetrack, very difficult to grab the handling underneath of these 1987 NASCAR Cup cars, and that's only going to continue to get worse as this race goes on. More heat will be put into the racetrack from the race cars themselves, but rubber will continue to lay down. That will add to the grip, so increasing temperatures, increasing grip, changing conditions will continue to play a factor throughout the majority of this race.
Just taking in the action there of the top 5. They're running nose to tail with the exception of the number 9, running a little bit lower lane than everybody else, but it feels like these drivers are settled in. They aren't hunting and pecking as much. There's a little gap back to the second 4 cars making up your top 9. And right now, everybody seems to be settled in for that mid-race. This is where I think, Kyle, as a driver, you start looking out the front of your windshield, the back of your windshield, assessing your race, and trying to determine what's your strategy to be there at the end.
That's an absolutely great point, Kevin. We're seeing a lot of green flag racing to start this, so these drivers are going to start to get themselves accustomed to the idea of maybe even potentially going green the entire way. These green flag runs absolutely changing up the strategy from what they may have had coming into this race. We've now crossed the 1/3 mark. We're going to come to complete lap number 26. So a third of the race already done under green flag. Strategizing yourself when that pit stop is going to be best for you to make it, how it will affect where you're running around those cars for position, what you can do to improve your position, and how you can keep everybody behind you where they are at in your rearview mirror.
Here comes the run for the outside, turn number 2. Mike Kelly got a little bit loose going into turn number 1. He's going to slide back a little, give up some positions. The 2 and the 9 were slipping around, and it looks like maybe this will work out for the 38. Chad Coleman working to the outside. And where did Chad Coleman come from? He just all of a sudden appeared on the scene.
Chad Coleman slowly starting to put his name into the mix here, slowly but surely working his way to the front of the field. He's right behind this battle going on for the runner-up spot with Tyler Dalton and Cole Dutton. Dutton's on the top side. Dalton is down on the bottom. Dutton with the advantage. He's going to clear Dalton, and now that allows Chad Coleman to follow suit and do the exact same thing. Lap car going to stay on the bottom, let these leaders go on by, but the battle has been completed. Cole Dutton goes back to second. Chad Coleman up to third. Tyler Dalton goes back to position number 4. And don't look now, Mike Kelly now starting to reel his way back in, and he's going to try to challenge Tyler Dalton for position number 4.
So you see the 5 of Kelly slip back a little bit. You have to wonder if he's cooling his tires, or we saw him come forward very quickly. Maybe wore those tires out a little bit. You get comers and goers in a long green flag run, and somebody like Chad Coleman, who is just sitting back there taking care of nursing his tires, is going to come forward here on the long run as he's taking a peek now. I think he has aspirations of getting that second position down the backstretch.
I believe you're right, Kevin. He's looking to the inside. What does he do going into turn number 3? He's going to drive it in there very deep, almost clears Cole Dutton going into turn number 3, and now he will clear for that runner-up spot. That opens up the door for Tyler Dalton to try to do the same thing. Side by side for third place, going down the front straightaway. The position will go to Dalton at the line, but he's not quite clear of Dutton just yet. Dalton and Dutton, man, those are two close names there. Could be easy to confuse, but it is Dalton who gets the position away from Cole Dutton, and now Cole Dutton drops a couple spots. Here comes Mitch Rollo. We haven't talked about Rollo too much. He was in the back part of the top 10 here earlier on, but he has now worked his way inside the top 5 and could possibly take away position number 4 from Cole Dutton.
Yeah, Cole Dutton ran a hard race all the way through, and now I think those tires are giving up a little bit. And the question is, can the 8th place starter or the 10th place starter Chad Coleman reel in EJ O'Rourke? O'Rourke came mid-race, And then all of a sudden he was out front, and he's been holding sway, but I see that gap closing, and I have a feeling Coleman has aspirations to go lead this thing.
Chad Coleman showing a lot of speed here, now 30 laps into this opening run. As Kevin just mentioned, he started back in position number 10, so he is up 8 positions, looking for that 9th and final one to gain as he's closing in on E.J. O'Rourke in the number 41 machine. Tyler Dalton starting now to show a little bit more strength as he's sticking right with Chad Coleman on his trek up to the race lead. Mitch Rollo was able to get around Cole Dutton. Mike Kelly was able to do the same. So now Cole Dutton, for the first time tonight, has dropped outside of the top 5, and now he loses 2 more positions to the 99 machine of Jason Barham and the 43 of Reed Rundell.
We're starting to see some of these front cars that started the race out first, second position, third position slip back, and we're starting to see some of these cars that started out in the 10th, 11th position come through. It's 3 seconds back to the 9th place car, and then 5 seconds back and a little bit of a gap to the 10th place car of Scott Simley in the number 12. Glenn Campbell running 11th, Chris Stouffer running 12th, Randy Yoakum running 13th, 14th is Shannon Wood, 5th is Mike Montesi, and you have to wonder, over time, as this race goes through, whether those drivers have saved something or they're wearing their tires just as hard as everybody else.
Rapidly approaching the halfway mark here in tonight's Michigan 150 for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series. E.J. O'Rourke continues to lead this one out in front of Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton, Mitch Rollo, and Mike Kelly in the top 5. O'Rourke started back in position number 8. He's led the way since lap 10, but now he's going to sacrifice that as Chad Coleman looks underneath. The mellow yellow number 38 will go to the race lead, and now Tyler Dalton going to try to follow suit. He's got a line of cars behind him, nearly bump drafting each other through the center of turns 3 and 4 to try to get it. Now they're going to fan out 3 wide for position number 3. Rollo in the middle, Mike Kelly on the outside. E.J. O'Rourke goes to the top side to try to get some draft off of Chad Coleman. Jumps to the middle, nearly cuts off the nose of Mitch Rollo. Great action. Top 5 cars are brawling.
These trucks, or these cars, drive very similar to the truck series. They punch a big hole in the air, and when some of the trucks get side by side on this track, the other trucks are able to draft up, and we see the same dynamic in the 87 sim. These drivers get side by side coming out of the corner, and everybody else feels like Superman as they drive low and make it 2, 3, 4 wide sometimes, and the track is wide enough to handle it. And now some of those drivers, maybe the number 5 of Kelly hung back there, cooled off his tires, and he could come forward again.
Side by side here for position number 3, Mitch Rollo in the 98 machine will complete the pass on the Levi Garrett number 5 of Mike Kelly, puts himself up on the bottom step of the podium. Kelly will peek to the inside coming off of turn number 2 and try to retaliate back on that spot. He's inside the left rear corner panel. Will drive just about even going into turn number 3. He's got the advantage. Kevin, we're starting to see this a lot throughout the first half of this race. These guys, they make those moves. They peek to the inside or the outside. They'll make some progress down the straightaways, and they just slam these things into the corner and make great gains on trying to make passes.
I drove a few laps on this track prior to us jumping in the broadcast, and I know that when you sometimes hook the car, drive it down in, and it hooks, sets into the track, and you could really carve the corner. Other times, pushes like a jump truck, and you got to be really careful coming off of turn number 2. We got 7 cars here, Dyson. Every one of them is trying to find whatever advantage they can, and I think, Kyle, this is where you try to figure out, how am I going to get the run to win? It's not dissimilar from a plate track. You're testing and testing how the car responds.
I think that's a really good point, Kevin. These guys up front are starting to realize that they're more than likely going to be battling these cars around them for the race win the way that things are going. So now is a great opportunity to start testing the waters a little bit, seeing what you can do to make passes, complete passes, how your car acts side by side with the other cars, and who will be your biggest threat when it comes down towards the closing laps. We now see the Levi Garrett number 5 of Mike Kelly go to the race lead for the first time tonight. He completes the pass on Chad Coleman there in turns 1 and 2 and will lead the field going into turn number 3. Lap number 37 will go in the books this time by the cross flags getting ready to fly. We're coming up on the halfway mark of this race. It has been great all the way through, green flag all the way through, and we've seen a multitude of different leaders, great side-by-side action, some awesome passes, been a fantastic start, should be a great finish as well.
As we approach the halfway mark, a lot of those drivers were listening to what we said before, or I'd like to think so. We see Rollo pulled off. He's going to go to pit road, get fresh tires, split the distance. So we're starting to see some of the cars, the number 9 specifically, take the opportunity. Tyler Dalton on pit road in the 9, and I think he's going to take 4 tires. Everybody's going to take 4 tires at this point, Kyle, when they go in.
I would be very surprised to see anybody do anything but 4 tires here, seeing that we've been green flagged this entire way. And maybe this is what these guys have been trying to plan on. We're at the halfway point now. We just completed lap number 38. They've gotten halfway through the race. So now from this point on, there are fewer laps to complete than there are laps that you have already completed. If you make your pit stop now, get your fresh rubber underneath of you, maybe this is an opportunity for you to get to drive a little bit harder, be a little bit more aggressive on your car. You don't have to be as conservative on this run as you were the previous one because there are fewer laps in this run. So you can afford to be a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more fierce up on the wheel to try to get some more out of your car and really contend for this race win. We've seen a few of those guys make the pit stop from the lead pack. So far, we still have about half of them still out there. Mike Kelly, Mitch Rollo, Chad Coleman, and Reed Rundell are still out on the racetrack. We've seen EJ O'Rourke, Tyler Dalton, Anthony Barham make the pit stop as well. Jason Barham, I'm sorry, I don't know where I pulled that one out of. Jason Barham, Cole Dutton also make the pit stop there. So half of them came in, half of them are still out there. Now, if you're those guys that made those pit stops, you are praying and hoping that you do not see a caution right here and you get tracked the lap down.
Yeah, a lot of these drivers are hoping they're going to get their lap back, and or, it's one of those things. It's very similar to like a Dover strategy. Do you run a long time? Try to keep your competitors a lap down. If you get a caution and you're the only ones on the lead lap, you can go in, get fresh tires, and it's your race to the finish. These other drivers are splitting the distance, and if we remain green, Mike Kelly could be at a disadvantage because he's running slower lap times right now than the other guys who pitted halfway and have fresh tires. So, this is where if you're not running in that top pack, maybe you change the pit strategy up. It's hard to say which one is the right one. You just have to wait for time to play out and see how the race dynamic goes.
You're taking a look at EJ O'Rourke in the 41 machine. He was one of those cars that made a pit stop, working his way back through traffic. We can tell you now that the 98 of Mitch Rollo is coming down onto pit road. He breaks away from the lead pack all on his lonesome here at the completion of lap number 41 to make his pit stop. So that'll leave 3 cars up at the front from the original lead pack that we had at the start of the green flag pit cycle, seeing some other cars working their way off of pit road. So only time will tell to see when these final 3 drop down. Mike Kelly still in the race lead over Reed Rundell and Chad Coleman. Those are the 3 remaining amongst the lead group that are still out on the racetrack. They're coming through turn number 4 right now, and they will continue to log laps around this 2-mile Michigan International Speedway. 42 complete, 33 laps left to go.
Kelly crosses the stripe, goes into turn number 1. He's got a pretty big lead over Reed Rundell, but look right behind him. Now entering turn number 1 is the number 9 of Tyler Dalton. It'll be interesting to see how closely he can catch our leader, how quickly he can catch the leader and see if he can get himself back into the lead lap. Once he crosses past the number 5, then it's his race. He's going to split the distance, and when Kelly comes out, Kelly should be at a disadvantage.
This will give you guys a great idea as to how big of a benefit fresh tires are compared to the worn-out ones. Look at how quickly Tyler Dalton was able to escape Chad Coleman after making that pass. Actually, Coleman's jumping down onto pit road to make his pit stop right now. But watch how quickly he closes in on the 43 of Reed Rundell. He'll drive it into turn number 1 here. It's probably about 7 or 8 car lengths back of Rundell. And let's see how close he is coming off of turn number 2. You can see he's already gained 3 or 4, 5 car lengths now, and he's just about a car length or 2 out coming off of turn number 2 and down the back straightaway, looking to the inside. He's going to be able to complete this pass going into turn 3 this time.
If you're out in the back of this lead lap, Glenn Campbell, Don Runkle Jr., Doug Sigmund, you're begging. You're talking about debris on the racetrack. You want to see a caution, keep those guys a lap down, and get yourself track position for the end of this run. You know, a lot of times with certain tracks, it's difficult to get off the racetrack at speed, come down, get yourself into pit road, but not with Michigan. Probably one of the easier pit roads to get on. And with the cars spread out so much, it's highly likely we're not going to see a caution. But as soon as I say that, I'm going to jinx somebody.
You saw there as Tyler Dalton worked his way through turn one that Chad Coleman in the background was coming off of pit road. Now you get to see how big of a difference the pit strategy is. Tyler Dalton compared to Chad Coleman, how far back Coleman is from Dalton's number 9. Mike Kelly on pit road right now. You see the left side's up. He now leaves the box. Let's watch Mike Kelly come off of pit road. Another one of the drivers that made a big drastic difference in the pit strategy. You can see Tyler Dalton just blows right by. Jason Barham blows by. And once Kelly gets up to speed, how far back he's going to be from the number 9 machine. Now, of course, the trade-off to this is that you would hope that the tires are going to be fresher later on in the run on the number 5 compared to the number 9. So if this does go green all the way to the end, once we get down to the closing stages, you would expect the number 5 of Mike Kelly and the 38 of Chad Coleman to have fresher tires at that stage in the run and maybe able to run these guys down and take the win away.
Reed Rundle was scored your leader. He's coming off of pit road, so he's ducked in. Ricky HARDIN right behind him, also on pit road. And we're going to look to see who's going to end up out front. My guess right now, looking at the way they pitted, is it's going to be the 9 of Tyler Dalton, but we'll have to see how this plays out.
Indeed, we will. Tyler Dalton, the first amongst those guys that made their pit stops, and it looks like Jason Barham will be second. And then we have a pack of cars for third on back. Mike Kelly holds that position. Then it's Chad Coleman, the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke, and Mitch Rollo in the 98. Your current race leader, though, is the number 15 of Ricky HARDIN. He is hanging out there, still has not made his pit stop yet. He started in position number 12. Sees the lead for the first time here tonight. He's in turns 3 and 4. Let's see what he does this time by looking low. Is he coming in? No, he is coming in. So Ricky HARDIN, race leader, will make his pit stop here. Hard on the brakes, trying to slow down to the 55-mile-an-hour pit speed. Looks like he gets there, and he will hand the lead over to the number 71 machine of John Zirk.
Yeah, John Zirk running out front. Don Runkle Jr. going into turn number 1 is running second right now. You can see how slow it is. And you know what? One of the other things that happens, Kyle, is when your tires are worn out and you see those cars coming, they show you no mercy. They're going by and you almost have to get out of the way, even though you're running first or second.
They really don't. They're on the fresh rubber. They know that they are faster than you. And especially knowing that you're closing up on the lead cars, you always have that thought in the back of your mind. Please do not let the caution flag come out within these next 15 seconds. Let me at least get back on the lead lap before it's thrown. It is a benefit. It's more beneficial to be on the lead lap than it is to be either in the free pass position or just outside looking in. So you're absolutely right on that. Even though they're racing around the leaders, they're on the fresher tires, and they kind of have the almighty feeling of, get out of my way, just let me go. You're not going to hold me off. Just give me my lap back and we can both move on.
If you're just joining us here, we're almost 50 laps in of a 75 laps run. It has been green all the way here on the SIM500 network. What a complete opposite from last week where it was shake and bake. Right now, we're watching the number 9 of Tyler Dalton. He's running third, but the 2 cars in front of him have yet to pit. And that answers the question about Mike Kelly. Mike Kelly is right in the tire tracks, but came out behind Dalton by the number of laps he ran further on the older tires, but he's eating up that distance really quickly.
I got to be honest, I'm quite surprised at how fast Mike Kelly and Chad Coleman have been able to run down Tyler Dalton. I figured it would take a little bit more time for that to happen, but I'm proven wrong. Just a few laps after Kelly and Coleman come out of the pits, they're right up to Tyler Dalton. Dalton in position number 2. He is the leader of those that have already made their pit stop cycle. There's only one car left to pit. It's the 00 of Don Runkle Jr., and he does that now. Drops it down onto pit road. He will hand the lead over to this battle going on right now between Tyler Dalton and the 5 of Mike Kelly. We've seen how awesome these guys have been racing throughout the entirety of this event so far. It immediately spices back up. We're side by side, maybe even a little door banging coming off of turn number 4.
Kelly getting side by side with Dalton has allowed the 38 of Coleman to go to the outside. They're 3 wide for the lead going down into turn number 1. Kelly going to make the pass, but not so fast. Here comes Coleman to the outside.
They'll split the 9 of Tyler Dalton and turn it into a 2-car battle amongst themselves. Chad Coleman on the top side, Mike Kelly on the bottom. The battle for the race lead down the back straightaway with just 25 laps to go. Who will have the advantage going into turn number 3? Let's find out together. It's the 5 of Mike Kelly. He clears for position number 1. Coleman will drop down behind, and Tyler Dalton still riding in third, trying to keep in contact with these guys. Doesn't want to lose touch here, and potentially a battle for the race win later on. Maybe he's just being a little bit more conservative right now. He did come in a handful of laps prior to these guys, but maybe he's just being a little more conservative to try to make up for the fact that those guys have fresher tires than he does.
You could see a complete opposite approach, attack to that third turn corner. Mike Kelly drove it in deep, drove it through the center and off. Chad Coleman looked like he backed up the corner, yielded to Kelly, and then just rolled through the corner and is staying in the draft coming off to the front straightaway. They've gapped out a little bit right now, but I'm wondering if Coleman is trying to do something to save his tires for the end run.
So now that we have completed our green flag pit cycle, let's give you a rundown of the top 10 and see how things have shaken up. We know that Mike Kelly, the 5, is your race leader. Second place in the 38 is Chad Coleman. Tyler Dalton in the 9 is in third place right now. Looks like we have a side-by-side battle going on for fourth place with Reed Rundell and Jason Barham for positions 4 and 5. Rundell is going to move around Barham for that one, so that'll put Barham back to 5th place. 6th place is the 98 of Mitch Rollo. 7th place is the 41 of EJ O'Rourke. 8th place now is the 13 of Chris Stouffer, continuing his charge through the field. 9th place is the 2 of Cole Dutton, and completing the top 10 in car number 12 is Scott Simley.
You got to look at Stouffer coming from the 25th position to inside the top 10 and 8th. He would love to see a caution and have his ability to get up there and close that track position without having to run the tires off that car. But I'm telling you what a stellar run for the number 13 of Chris Stouffer.
Very impressive run, as we mentioned earlier on in the broadcast. He started all the way back in position number 25. He is absolutely the biggest mover through the field, up 17 positions inside the top 10. And what's even more impressive about it, Kevin, is that he has had 0 caution flags to work with. This is pure driving talent, pure strategy out of the STP number 13 to gain those positions, looking to cap it off with a strong finish. But Cole Dutton starting to reel him back in. He might have something to say about that position number 8.
Yeah, coming back out front, the top 4 running nose to tail with a little bit of gap. About 1 to 2 car lengths separate your top 4. 5th place position is Reed, just kind of hanging back there, watching what's going on. Anybody in that top pack right there, even back a little bit further, if they start running side by side, you're able to draw in quickly, and any one of those drivers in that 8-pack stack could come up there and fight for the win by the end of this one.
Absolutely true. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. They'll come off at turn number 4 this time by. Lap 55 will go in the books. 20 laps remain here in the Michigan 150 for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series at the Michigan International Speedway. This is race number 2 on the season. Your current points leader, last week's winner, Mike Kelly, is the current race leader at the moment. He started in position number 5, leads this one. Took him a little bit to get up to the front of the field, but once he's gotten up here, he has shown that last week was no fluke at Daytona. He is going to be a threat all season long and is going to try to go back-to-back here and keep the undefeated streak alive, but he's got some great competition behind him. Chad Coleman, Tyler Dalton, those 3 cars starting to kind of pack up a little bit. Reed Rundell, after making that position for 4th, he's closing in on these top 3, so very soon here, we're going to have a tight 4-car battle for the top positions. 56 goes in the books, 19 laps remaining.
You start to think about the dynamic of this racetrack and how it could play a factor in the end. When you come off the corner, you try to do all you can to use the racetrack, but if you have a car to your outside and you push the nose, you're going to squeeze up into the car outside of you. It's a common occurrence out of turn number 4 and turn number 2. That wall comes up really quickly. In the beginning of this race, it was a lot of give and not so much take. But as we get to these closing moments, these guys want to get a victory, and they're going to push it as hard as they can. Earlier, we saw door-to-door action, but they raced clean out of turn number 2. But I would not be surprised if there's some beating and banging.
Well, there's definitely been something going on, because for the first time tonight, we have the caution flag out. We've got the 83 of Timothy Wertman. He was spun around in turn number 1. Just when we thought that this was going to go all the way through, the caution flag flies with less than 20 to go. Paul, your night gets a little bit more complex. You don't just get to press all the buttons and do all the fancy stuff. We actually get to bring you in and hear you on the mic for the first time tonight.
How about that? I've been down here in the production trailer just munching on some kick-ass beef jerky. They're going to bring us the instant replay here. And we're going to focus on the 83. It doesn't look like it starts with him. Starts in front of him with the 81. They get together, and 83 looks like he tries to slow down. Just nowhere for him to go. Unfortunately, the one comes up the track and bumps into him. A little bit of damage there in the left front of that race car, but doesn't look too bad. See, he's still kind of rolling backwards there. Looks like he's going to be able to, well, we'll see if he gets it rolling. He's waiting for the cars to go by. He's going to be able to drive back on down. One thing to take a look at right there is we get a really good shot of the top side of that track. Speaking of tire wear, there's a bunch of little rubber balls that's basically rubber that's come off of the tires on this car, off of these race cars all race long and throughout practice as well. So may definitely play a factor in here. A lot of these guys like to run that top side. So you're going to wonder if that's going to be a thing that's going to affect the handling of the race cars later on.
So as the field works their way around the Michigan International Speedway here under caution for the first time, the 22 machine of Mike oh no, that's his position, I'm sorry. The number 7 machine of Mike Montesi goes around the field. He will be the recipient of the free pass, so he'll get himself back on the lead lap. That'll put 21 cars on the lead lap. Haven't really had much of an opportunity to go through any retirees. Looks like we do have 2 cars that did not make it to this point. That would be the 27 of Randall Watkins and the 133 machine of Dennis Breigel. Both of those cars DNF'd, and it appears that the 81 of Adam Benefiel, the one and only non-starter amongst the 31 car field. So besides that, 21 cars on the lead lap and 28 of the 30 original starters still on the racetrack at this point of the race. So all that strategy, all those pit stops, it now means one thing, Kevin. Everybody's backed up, grouped together. It's just going to be an all-out brawl from here to the finish.
Yeah, I would anticipate that it's going to be feeding time at the zoo. They do have, based on the race settings, tire set limit of 2. But, well, I don't know. We're going to see if some of those drivers out in the back were just riding, conserving, waiting for this caution to get their opportunity. Now they can be in close proximity to that top group. And we'll get to see whether or not some of those drivers will sneak their way up here and contend for the win.
I'm a little surprised here, Kevin. I got to call myself out. Taking a look at the track temperature, it's actually cooled down by 5 degrees. We're now at 95 degrees for the track temperature. I figured that as the race would progress, it would continue to get warmer, but it's actually cooling off a little bit. So the cooler that the track gets, the more grip that it will produce. Not too sure how big of a difference 5 degrees will make or not, but we'll see here. The field all bunched up, ready to go. We will have 15 laps remaining on the drop of the green flag. Mike Kelly, Chad Coleman make up row number 1. Tyler Dalton and Reed Rendell, row 2. Jason Barham and Mitch Rollo, row 3. E.J. O'Rourke and Cole Dutton in row number 4, and Christopher and Glenn Campbell will complete your top 10 for this restart. This should be great, and I'm going to say it. Since we have Kick-Ass Beef Jerky as our sponsor, I don't think it's going to be inappropriate for me to say that this is going to be a badass finish to this race.
No doubt. No doubt. Pace car is about to hook left, and now Mike Kelly will see whether he has what it takes to get the job done here. He's charged from mid-pack coming through to lead a lot of these laps, but he's got an entire pack of hungry wolves right behind him as the pace car is in, and they come up through the gears going in. Kelly gets a good start. He's going to pull out on Coleman, and Coleman is now under attack for the number 9 of Tyler Dalton as they're side by side heading to turn number 1.
Tyler Dalton's going to clear for position number 2 on entry to turn number 1. Top 3 go single file, and then they are still side by side for 4th on back. Rundell on the outside in the 43 will take over for Jason Barra. Mitch Rollo going to do the same. Cole Dutton going to try to push the 98 around and also make the pass around the 99 of Jason Barham. So Barham going back a couple spots here off of the restart, nearly makes contact there. Cole Dutton to the back bumper of the 98 of Mitch Rollo, but they stay clean and green. Now Barham with an opportunity to take a position back from the 98 of Rollo. Those two stay side by side. We are side by side for the race lead. Tyler Dalton grabs the lead at the line, but he's not clear going into turn number 1. Now he does clear for the top spot.
Kelly turns the car down. Maybe he's going to look to see to do the crossover out of turn number 2 as Coleman right in his back bumper, but we have a new leader and a good charge from the number 9. And here comes the 2 on the bottom for that 6th position back there.
Cole Dutton working his way underneath. Oh, we've got trouble with Trollo into the left rear of the 99 of Barham, sends him sideways. Caution flag flies. Now Cole Dutton goes around in the middle of turns 3 and 4. Caution flag number 2. Couple of our top competitors go spinning. I didn't see any hard impacts by anybody, so they should be able to regather and join the race again, but they're going to have to do so further back than where they are running. What a heartbreaker for Cole Dutton and Jason Barham.
Yeah, just close quarters going into the corner, and we were looking to see how quickly they could get in and underneath each other. The 98 of Rollo just tapping the rear quarter panel of the 99. Great job by the 99 keeping that car out of the fence, down through the grass, got it straightened out, and then the 2 unfortunately came along and got a little piece of that.
So we'll have to see where these guys line up on the restart once things get settled with the scoring, determining where they were when the caution flag flew. I know that Cole Dutton got sideways after the caution flag flew, but it does look like he is going to lose some positions based off of that slide. Looking through here quickly to see where the 99 of Barham is. Barham looks to be just still inside the top 10, so we'll give it a moment here to see how everything shakes up. But it looks bad, Kevin, but it absolutely could have been much worse for those guys.
Absolutely. When you have 2 or 3 cars coming together into the corner up in front of the pack, and the fact that everybody else got around cleanly, we're lucky we didn't have 10 cars piled into the fence there. I saw the 2 sliding sideways, locked up the brakes, was able to gather the car up, but I have to imagine that he did quite a job wearing those tires down. As we see the 15 going around for the easy pass, he's going to come back for the free pass and come around and join the field on the lead lap.
So that'll put 22 cars on the lead lap here. Looks like with the way things are going, we will get the restart with less than 10 laps remaining in the Michigan 150. Tyler Dalton, he's only led a few laps tonight, but he's leading at the most important time right now here with the closing stages of this race looming in. Another restart going to come into play here. Another opportunity to have to really fight for this one. We saw some great stuff there in that short green flag run. It's only going to get better. The anticipation or the excitement knob going to get cranked just a few more clicks to the right, as this is going to come with fewer laps to go than previously. So, boy, this is just going to keep getting better and better here.
Dalton, Kelly, Coleman, Rundle, Rollo, EJ O'Rourke led for a while. They've all been testing each other all the way through this race. Now they've had 2 quick cautions, and they're going to have to run as hard as they can to see if they can get the victory here. But, you know, some of these drivers, Mike Kelly wants to go 2 in a row. Some of these drivers had a bad race last week. From a points standpoint, they need to come out of Michigan with points So you have to wonder if that plays into a factor, or are they all literally just so hungry for a win they'll do whatever they can to win at any cost?
Doesn't matter how early in the season we are, Kevin. Points always very, very important. You're not thinking about the long picture right now, but once we get down closer to the end of the season, what happens here tonight could very well have a major impact on the point standings when it comes time to get ready to crown a champion. So you're right. You have to go for it. You got to get as many points as you can, get yourself as good of a finish as possible. So that way, once you do get down into that championship time, your name can be in that championship picture. Mike Kelly, as we said, he was the winner last week at Daytona. He is the points leader. He rides in second. Tyler Dalton, the race leader, third place in the points standings, just 15 points out of the lead. Then Todd Kirkwood is fourth, and Bill Schoonover, your top five in the point standings. Haven't really talked too much about Todd Kirkwood or Bill Schoonover tonight, but those drivers still out there on the surface. Todd Kirkwood in 15th, and Schoonover currently in position number 20. This restart allowing those guys an opportunity to pick off some more spots here in the late going.
Yeah, and then you see drivers like Cole Dutton, who just had problems. Cole was in seventh in points, and he needs to salvage something here as the pace car turns off, and we're about to kick this thing off one more time. And wasting no time, Tyler Dalton just hammered down as soon as the pace car left, and he is 4 car lengths out as Kelly under assault there, 3 wide going into turn 1 for position number 2.
Chad Coleman will win that battle. Mitch Roller going to try to fill his place. Rundell will lose sight on the top side. He will now go into a duel with the 41 of E.J. O'Rourke. O'Rourke going to push the 98 down the back straightaway. That's allowing the 43 to get back to the outside of the 98. And the caution flag is going to fly once again. I'm going to assume that we have some problems further back in the field. Looks like some smoke getting kicked up in turn number 3. Still not exactly sure where that caution flag is from, but nonetheless, caution flag number 3 is out.
This is where the jitters come in for a driver like Dalton, who got away and thought they were clear. Now everybody gets to pack up and get back to the bumper. That trick on the restart, can't do that again. So he's going to have to come up with something else. As we're getting inside 5 to go here, everybody's just going to go wide open down into turn number 1.
So looking back at that one, it was with the 44 machine of Glenn Campbell and the 13 of Chris Stouffer. Paul, what were you able to pick up on that one?
Took us a second to find the replay. It was back there in mid-pack, but we did end up finding it here. You can see the 44 Trans-Service car doing his best to stay in the middle lane there, and you see the 13, the king-looking ride there, heads on down low and just gets a little bit into the quarter panel. So not a huge hit right there, no damage, no wrecking or anything like that. It looks like the I don't want to say the admins jumped the gun on that caution, because it was definitely a good call there, because there was no wrecks or anything like that, but gives these drivers one more opportunity to kind of get a good restart, and we'll see if Tyler Dalton can make one of those massive restarts happen once more time.
Yeah, Campbell, the yaw on that card was 90 degrees to traffic. He got hit in the left front, and the left front fender took a big hit, but it kind of straightened him out and did a great job not panicking once the car came back to straight and driving that car away. And really heads up move for the number 51 there of Jeff Ryan, who watched all that happen, and also the 71 of John Zerke. These drivers are doing a good job. They know that peril is there at any moment, and they're on their toes on that one.
Yeah, great job by all parties involved to keep that just a 2-car incident and nothing bigger. You're seeing now the recipient of the free pass this time, the number 3 machine of John Mustian Jr. So that'll put him back on the lead lap in position number 23. So he'll have an opportunity here to pick off some more positions. Exactly what he needed to see there to get himself back on the lead lap. So now we're looking at about a 5-lap restart here, Kevin. We saw how monstrous of a restart Tyler Dalton was able to get right there. I can't imagine that he's going to be able to fire in the same place and get that same jump. If he does, Mike Kelly has to be expecting something like that again.
Yeah, he certainly caught Mike Kelly sleeping there, or caught us all sleeping, because as soon as the pace car was off the track, he was gone. And to your point again, I don't think he could do that. Everybody else is going to be anticipating that. Um, hmm. You see some of those cars running low. They certainly can't have a fuel problem. A lot of times you see the cars run the apron. They should have plenty of fuel to get all the way through, even though we have at least one opportunity for a green white checker here tonight. These drivers just contemplating how they get cleanly. If I'm any one of them, I want to be leading coming out of turn number one.
So the field double files up. We'll go green this time by with 6 laps remaining. 6 laps to go here in the Michigan 150 for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series here at the Michigan International Speedway. It's been a fantastic race thus far. Now it's coming down to the crunch time. All right, we're going to put each other on the spot here. Who do we have winning this event?
I'm going to go with an underdog, Reed Rundell in the 43. How about you, Kyle?
We saw how good he was throughout the long run. I think he turns the wick up just a little bit here in the short run. Give me the Mellow Yellow 38. Chad Coleman goes to victory lane.
Well, you can't go taking my pick there, Kyle, because I was going to pick Chad Coleman too. He's great big time racer. Raced with Verdane Super Speedway Series. Even has he's actually got the only tied championship with Alan Cryer with the street stock division. But definitely been doing this a long time. Knows what he's doing on these big tracks. I'm going to say 38 wins it.
So 2 for Chad Coleman, 1 for Reed Rundell. Let's see how it plays out. The iRacing.com pace car jumps down onto the safety of pit road. Tyler Dalton smashes the loud pedal. He gets another very good restart. It looks like Mike Kelly fired at the same time, but I think he may have spun the tires now. They're going to fan out 3 wide again for position number 2. Mitch Rollo going to go to the top side. No, he makes a mistake. He drops off, loses some momentum, and he's going to lose a handful of positions. Nearly door contact between the 43 and the 5, and the center of 1 and 2 for position number 3.
I really don't know if you could have put a piece of paper in there, and if you did, it probably would have held as they come down. Coleman was able to break away. Kelly trying to muster after spinning the tires. He was a little sideways going into turn number 1, but I anticipate he's going to get his mojo going here holy cow, they are flying out of turn number 4.
Caution flag is out as we come to the 5 laps to go marker. Caution flag number 4 flying. Looks like another incident towards the back of the field. It involves the 00 machine of Don Runkle Jr. Looks like basically a single car incident there. He had some help there from the 2 of Cole Dutton. Paul, what did that one look like for you?
Take a look at the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky instant replay. We're focusing on the 00 car, and you can see, we'll back that up just a little bit, and looks like he was coming down low and just gets a little bit of a touch there. Gets himself spun around. I was going to say no big contact, but there's the big contact. Noses that car right into that Carfax logo on the outside wall. So he is able to get rolling again, but I don't know if that car is going to have too much power after hitting the front end of it that big. Yeah, you can see he stops the car, and he looks like he's going to retire from the race. So tough break for the 00.
Yeah, from what I can see up here down on pit road, the winner net has dropped on the 00 machine of Don Runkle Jr. This is going to end his night prematurely. A few cars behind him, more laps down than what we have left, so it's looking like it will be a 27th place finish for the 00 of Don Runkle Jr. Not at all how he wanted to finish off this event. So, well, just when we thought things were going to get crazy, here we go. Another caution flag, going to re-rack them and restack them once again. I think we are going to get this restart inside regulation. I don't think we're going to have to worry about a green-white checker just yet. We've been getting pretty quick caution flags here, so I would assume the one to go would come next time by, which would, well, it will create a green-white checker finish, but it will be a legal green-white checker finish. It will not go to overtime just yet, and the recipient of the lucky dog this time will be the number 6 machine, it looks like, of Corey Chester. That is correct, so Chester will go around. He is 2 laps down, so he'll get one of his laps back. He won't get to go on the lead lap just yet. He's hoping that we see an actual green-white checker so he can get back on the lead lap, but everybody else, of course, they're hoping that we can just get through this one more time. Tyler Dalton, he's been so good on these restarts, but now he's going to have the 38 of Chad Coleman on the outside instead of Mike Kelly.
Yeah, he's been 2 for 2 on these restarts. It's snookering these guys. Now what's he going to do? He needs to be perfect 3 for 3. Uh, Dalton, Coleman, Kelly, Rundle, O'Rourke, Stouffer, Rollo, Barham, still hanging tough. And look who's running ninth right now.
That would be the 14 machine of Joey Katina. Joey Katina also a big mover on the night thus far. He is up 12 positions, started back in 21st place, making his mark in the top 10 for the first time tonight. Great time to do it here with just a few laps remaining. So he's looking to etch out a top 10 finish in the late going. He'll be restarting on the inside of row number 5. And indeed, I am correct. The lights are out on top of the pace car. We will go green flag next time. It will be a legal green-white checker. 2 laps left in regulation. We will have 1 attempt at a green-white checker if we need it in overtime. But we'll see how this restart goes first before we start worrying about that.
Yeah, we were chatting with Joey on pit road before the start of the race, and he didn't have a lot of confidence. He was just trying to see if he can get himself to the checkered flag tonight, and here he finds himself somehow snuck up there into the top 10, running ninth. Right behind him, Jimmy Coleman, also having a good run, started 17th, and I'll tell you what, how does this one play out? We had our picks, but it's still anybody's race here in that top 10.
It really is, Kevin. These guys have been so close, so fierce all the way through. This could be the last restart, their final opportunity. Tyler Dalton knows how good that he has been on these restarts, but now he has Chad Coleman to the outside. Coleman has been lining up right behind Tyler Dalton on these previous 2 restarts. So if there's anybody that knows what Tyler's going to do on this restart, it has to be the 38 of Chad Coleman. Let's see what happens with him on the outside instead of on the inside.
They roll through turns 3 and 4, 70 miles an hour. Dalton, Coleman, Kelly, and Rundle, your top 4, waiting for the pace car to turn left. The anticipation and RPMs coming up. Coleman sneaks out a little bit, but it's hammered down for Tyler Dalton. Coleman still hanging tough. He's right to the back bumper. Coleman, he's not going to let Dalton get away as they scream to turn number 1.
Top 2 cars will single file out, double file all the way through the field. They'll roar down into turn number 1. Still, Tyler Dalton leading Chad Coleman. Slight advantage for third, back to Mike Kelly. You're riding on board here with Chad Coleman looking up to Tyler Dalton. Coleman trying to reel in the number 9. Make an attempt at winning this race down the backstretch for the penultimate time. It's about 2 car lengths separating your top 2 into turn number 3. That are just about running the same line. Coleman with about a half a lane higher into turn number 3. They'll come off of turn number 4 and see the white flag one more time around the Michigan International Speedway.
Dalton, your leader. Coleman in his tire tracks right behind them. A little bit off is Mike Kelly. It looks like it's going to be a 2-car battle as they're side by side, O'Rourke and Rundle for 5th. As they drive down in, little contact from Reed Rundle to the back of the 41. And on the charge, here he comes. The number 38 of Coleman's going to close coming off of turn number 2 to your leader.
Down the back straightaway for the final time. It looks to be either Tyler Dalton or Chad Coleman. Dalton has extended that lead since the previous lap, looking very smooth into turns 3 and 4 for the final time. Tyler Dalton, the master of late race restarts, will lead them off at turn number 4. He will see the checkered flag, and he will win the Michigan 150 for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series here at the Michigan International Speedway. His first win of the season. He gets it done in race number 2. Chad Coleman will finish in position number 2. Mike Kelly 3rd. E.J. O'Rourke in 4th. And Reed Rundle will round out the top 5 finishers. Completing the top 10 in the 99 is Jason Barham. Chris Stouffer, we talked about his hard charge through the field. It ends up being 18 positions from 25th. He finishes in position number 7. Mitch Rollo will finish in 8th. Jimmy Coleman will finish 9th. And Joey Katina able to hang on to the final top 10 position. He brings it home in 10th place.
When you talk about how this race is going to be remembered, everybody's going to write the paper article on Monday and talk about how good the restarts are for Tyler Dalton. What an amazing job he did completing those restarts, breaking away, and securing himself a win.
He'll go through the spin cycle on the front straightaway and celebrate this victory. We'll give you a rundown of the remaining finishers. In 11th place was Glenn Campbell. 12th place is Shannon Wood. 13th, Scott Simley. 14th to Mike Montesi. And matching his car number in 15th is the 15 of Ricky Hardin. Todd Kirkwood will finish in position number 16. John Mustian Jr., we saw there, took advantage of a late race lucky dog. He comes up to finish in position number 17. Bill Schoonover in 18th, Doug Sigmund in 19th, and John Zerke will complete the top 20. 21st place finisher is the 51 of Jeff Ryan. Cole Dutton, one of our front runners throughout the majority of this show, unfortunately suffering some late race issues. He finishes the last car on the lead lap in 22nd. From 23rd on back, everybody off of the lead lap. The one machine of James Somke, he finishes in position 23. Corey Chester in 24th. Timothy Wortman, late race issues for him as well. He finishes in 25th. Seth Harrelson in 26th. And Seth, actually the last car that finished in tonight's event. Those that DNF'd the 8 machine of Randy Yoakum in the 27th place finisher, the 00 of Don Runkle Jr. He DNF'd in 27th. Randy Yoakum in the 8 and 28th. Dennis Breigel in 29th, and Randall Watkins in position number 30. So while Tyler Dalton finishes his celebration, we'll take a moment here to collect our thoughts, get ready for some post-race interviews. It is Tyler Dalton, the winner of the Michigan 150. We'll kick it over to break here. We'll be back in just a moment for post-race interviews.
What's one of the biggest challenges of managing a fleet of trucks, tractor trailers, and material handling equipment? Hassling with maintenance, repair, and vehicle breakdown. Trans Service's dedicated contract maintenance service, DCM, takes that hassle away. We maintain your fleet, no matter what the configuration, to the highest standards, while giving you the greatest cost control. We offer preventative maintenance executed to maximum utilization, equipment life, and necessary repairs, all tracked by a state-of-the-art paperless computerized system. Assistance with equipment engineering, configuration, including new engine technology, and onboard computers for your fleet, as well as dedicated fleet contract maintenance. Dedicated on-site service facilities staffed with management and certified maintenance technicians, inventories of parts, tires, and fluids, and all necessary shop equipment, diagnostic tools, and technology. Supporting services such as equipment inspections and assistance with meeting regulatory requirements, DOT, OSHA, EPA. Contact us today to learn about our turnkey contract maintenance solutions. It's all about the experience, yours and ours.
Have you seen my kick-ass subscription box anywhere? Oh, there it is.
Welcome back to the Michigan International Speedway, where we have just completed the Michigan 150 for the SIM500 Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series. Down here in victory lane with our winner tonight, the number 9 of Tyler Dalton, race number 2 on the season, 2 different winners, and it is Tyler. Trying to clear my lungs from all of the smoke as he burned it down here in Gatorade victory lane, but he's climbed out of the car and ready to talk to us. Tyler, I'd like to talk about the first half of the race first. Lots of green flag laps. We saw some fantastic battling amongst you guys at the front of the field. What was it like to battle that hard, but also keep in the back of your mind that you're going to have to manage tires and you only have one set in the pits to use?
You know, that was definitely in the back of, I think, everyone's mind up front. I think I burned them a little bit too far in the very beginning, so I had to back off a little bit. And the tires weren't bad. I turned it back on pretty much going hard the last 5 laps of the run and was able to find some more speed back. So that was good, but there was definitely some advantages to the guys that had saved a little bit more than me on the first part of the run. Then we pitted right about halfway. Came down, honestly, was way too cautious getting the pit road, and that sort of hurt us. So I thought that we were toast after we came back out, and Mike and Chad got by us under green with newer tires.
Once we saw the first caution flag fly, there were a few others that followed. And from what I could tell, the most important part that got you to victory lane, though, here in those late stages seemed to be your restart ability. You were absolute money on those restarts. What about it made you so good and so strong to be able to escape everybody behind you?
Honestly, I'm not quite sure. Not really sure I want to say, but I knew that the guys behind me had a couple lap newer tires. But my strategy there was during the caution to run down there on the apron where the track's cool and get the tires as cool as possible. Not sure if that gave me a little bit of extra grip on the restarts. And then I was just able to hit my shifts right on the restarts. I would slow it down about 2 miles per hour off the pace car speed, and just hold steady about 68, and was just able to get a good start. It seems like, honestly, the worst start I got was the last one of the race, but because Chad timed that pretty good, but we were able to clear him going into one and get a pretty good gap down the back.
Well, Tyler, you looked absolutely great all night long, put on a great show for us up at the front of the field. You got yourself to Gatorade victory lane for the first time this season. Who would you like to thank?
Yeah, I got to thank Todd Kirkwood. He's always been a long-time supporter of me, a teammate in this race in the 94 car. Got to thank all my viewers on Twitch at twitch.tv/zone15. They were all watching and cheering me on. Not sure you've seen for the paint scheme. The paint scheme is sort of a little bit old, a little bit of new. We got the Bill Elliott 88 scheme, but we changed the colors up a little bit. Got the Zone 15 logo in the style of the Coors logo, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I think the secret tonight might have been those red rims. Last week we ran silver rims, ended up third. Wanted to change up a little bit. We ran red rims tonight and brought it home.
He drove good. He looked good. He finished good. Winner of tonight's Michigan 150. Tyler Dalton kicking off the season with a great victory here in the second race of the season. He'll look to continue that momentum into Talladega Superspeedway next Thursday night. We'll send things on over to Kevin England, who is caught up with our second place finisher, driver of the Mellow Yellow number 38, Chad Coleman.
Hey, Chad, we're sitting here as the 9 is pulling into victory lane. We're just watching over the wall. Man, the 9 was fast tonight. Did you have anything for him?
I think I did on a longer run. On a really long run, Mike had us all beat. But from about lap 20 to 35, I was really good. After that, I hurt the right front a little bit. And then Mike was pretty good. But on the short run, right there at the end, I run these cars once a week. I guess most people probably do too. I haven't figured out yet how to get hot lap speed out of them, and that's where he beat me. I did everything I could on the restart right there to try to be able to try to stay beside him, pin him down in turn one, and he had too much car on me for me to try to pinch him going into one.
I want to go back into the beginning of the race. We saw Jackrabbit start by a couple guys, and then slowly they backed up. And about where you said we had one of those moments of where did he come from, and you were up in the mix in the top 5. Was that a strategy? Were you holding the car back, or just take that long for you to get in the groove and come forward?
A lot of that was, strategy, trying to stick the right front tire on it, because this car is pretty hard on the right front. It don't have the downforce or anything to help it turn getting into the corner. So that was part of strategy right there, just trying to keep the right front as fresh as I could, and it worked. Me and Rolo drove up through there pretty good, and I got to the lead. I think he got to second, and then, but in doing that, making those passes, I hurt the right front tire some. So as that run went on and got a little longer, that's when Mike was able to get back by us.
We were talking in the booth here about those 2 restarts prior to the final one, of how much of a jump the 9 got out. We were wondering if you guys were taking notes. And on that last restart, you had poked your nose out in front of them. Officials were looking across, but it didn't matter as the 9 went zooming by. Did that surprise you?
No, I could hear that he was going to first, and first in his car winds out at pretty quick. So if you miss that first to second exchange any at all, he's done, and there's going to be 3 cars clear before he gets to turn 1. So I knew if I could get him to roll a little faster into that restart right there, that first gear would run out even faster. So I sped up myself a little bit, which sped him up, and he topped that first gear out a little quicker than he wanted to right there, and that helped me more than it did anybody.
Yeah, for those who were following that, as soon as the car, when you stand on the gas, if you're going faster, it gets to that area where you got to shift quicker, or you'll rev the car too high and it won't go into gear real well for a second, and you actually lose time. So interesting that you picked up on it, but I guess the difference didn't matter there, as it sure looked like Tyler played that absolutely perfect. You rolled through turn number 2, and it looked like you gained a little bit, but just could not pick up the draft going down the backstretch. Did you have any ideas of how you could possibly run a little better if you could do it all over again? Is there some sort of change you would have made?
Right off, nothing really. I mean, I was too tight getting in the corner, trying to hot lap the car. I mean, it showed in qualifying. I qualified. I sucked in qualifying too. So it's just, I haven't quite figured out how to hot lap this car yet at certain tracks, and this happens to be one of them. And so I'll figure it out if I have to. We'll practice a little bit. I don't like to, but if I have to, we will.
A good points night, 27th last week, 3rd tonight. That's going to even things out and put you somewhere in the middle of the pack. And are you thinking about points?
No, not really. With this deal, just the way my luck's been with this car and the series that we ran with it last season, I'm just trying to finish. Most of the races last year I got wrecked. Then we got jumped again at Daytona. And tonight I was just glad to be running at the end more than anything.
Well, great job tonight getting yourself a 2nd place finish. Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Just thank all the admins at SIM500, you guys, for broadcasting. And been a while since I saw Paul Strickland's name remember winning a couple of championships over there racing with Verdane with John Adams and Alan Cryer and a couple of guys back probably, 10 years ago now.
Yeah, some of us go back that far, and it's always great to reconnect with folks. I know I raced with you back in the day too, and Mike Kelly sitting right there behind you. So it's always neat to see those names. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us. I'm going to turn it over to Kyle Young for a quick discussion there with our last week's winner, third place tonight, Mike Kelly.
Indeed, I have down here with the number 5 machine of Mike Kelly, who has filled the bottom step of the podium tonight. Last week's winner at the Daytona International Speedway follows up with the third tonight. Mike, very similar story to Chad Coleman that you had with yourself. We didn't really see you until the second half of that big long run on the green flag laps that opened up tonight's race. What was your strategy going into it, and how did things change based off of how many laps that we ran?
Yeah, I can pretty much just say what Chad said, but no, I'm a little disappointed, but I can't be too disappointed. I've been running great. I had a car that could have won. I don't think I finished out of the top 3 for 4 or 5 weeks. So, no, like Chad said, the right front, you got to really baby it. And I was just biding my time because I knew I wanted to run 45 or 50 laps on that first run. So I was taking care of her, but it got good there pretty quick, and I started moving back up. I think I was up to 3rd, and I got to the 2 car, and he decided he wanted to battle like it was the Daytona 500, and I lost a few spots, and I just cooled off and said I'm going to hang back. And I think that really paid off because once I was able to catch back up to that group, cost me like 3-4 positions, I think, and caught back up to him, got around him, and then I went through a tight spot, and it came out of that, and the car just came alive, and I just drove right to the front. So got the, stretched it out for the pit stop, and got back to the lead after everything came around, and I think I had fresher tires than everybody but Chad, I believe. So had a nice lead, wanted to see it go the distance, and of course, guys racing for 15th, 20th, whatever, get together and kind of ruined the race. It turned into a pretty crappy race after that, and couldn't get going on the restarts. So that was that.
Those restarts definitely seem to be a massive struggle for you in the late going there. What do you think you needed to better yourself off those restarts and be more of a contender?
The first one, when I was leading, I got off to a pretty good start, and I don't know, he just really got through 1 and 2 good and had a run into 3 and 4 and was able to get down below that little seam and pull me off 4. But then the next one, he was, like Chad said, he was, pace speed was 70. He was slowing it down to 65 and shifting to first. So really got caught out on that one. Then I was up on what he was doing on the next one and still didn't really get going good. So lost another spot there. And then I don't know what, I got to figure out something, but he was just really getting off good and, timing it with him, and everyone else can kind of go off that and get a run on you. So I was just fighting for my life there. I really needed that last run to just go out all green and get back to that point where my car was really good at the end of the run. I think I would have been untouchable, but I'm not going to complain too much. It was a great run. Car was fast, led some laps.
You got to victory lane last week to kick off the season at Daytona. We go to Talladega next week. Once again, super speedway racing. What's your confidence level like going into that race? And is there anything that you can transfer from your success last week into next week's race?
Well, you probably know the answer to that. There's no confidence level going into Talladega or Daytona, but that's what this series is all about, big tracks and a lot of super speedway racing where anything can happen and, anybody can win there. So just now that I got a good start in the point standings, I'll probably just try to run up front, stay up front, maybe lead some laps, get some points for that, and try to hope I'm there at the end to battle for a win.
Another great performance out of you tonight, starting to show some consistency here in this series. Who would you like to thank for your third place run?
Kick-Ass Beef Jerky for sponsoring this series. It's good to have them on board and get this televised this year. So your crew can put on some great broadcasts and entertain us all. And thanks to Joey G, SIM500. And thanks to Turn 1 Heroes. Great team I got going. Scott Simley had a decent run tonight, although I think his crew chief needs to have his head examined after a pit call he made. But he came back to 13th. And thanks to all the great drivers in the series, make the racing really fun. It was a lot of fun out there racing tonight. So look forward to next week at Talladega.
He said it was fun from the driver's seat. I know we had fun from up here in the booth. Hopefully everybody watching had fun as well. Those are your thoughts from the third place finisher in tonight's Michigan 150, the number 5 machine of Mike Kelly. Well, before we say goodbye, we'll go around the round table here and get some closing thoughts. Kevin, kick us off, man. What a great show we saw tonight.
Yeah, I was excited to come in here tonight and watch the action side by side. This track does not disappoint. There's plenty of lanes, and these cars are a lot of fun to come back, reminisce this old track, and see how these drivers exhibit skill. It's no picnic driving that car down in the corner. It doesn't want to turn. It doesn't want to stick. It doesn't want to drive off. And yet these guys made it look easy. It just shows the skill that they have here tonight.
I very much agree. For me personally, this was my first exposure to these cars here on the iRacing service. I just bought these things earlier this morning, so what a great way to be introduced to them. We saw some fantastic racing up at the front, great side-by-side battles, lots of passing for position. We saw different leaders. We saw tire strategy come into play, pit strategy come into play, and then, of course, we had some chaos towards the end of it, produced some late race restarts, bunch everybody up in the field to give everybody a last opportunity to spice things up, and we saw a great finish to end it. A green-white checker, a legal green-white checker. Tyler Dalton goes to victory lane, 2 different winners in the first 2 races, and then we go to Talladega Superspeedway next week, the second Superspeedway race of the season, and I'm sure things will only continue to get better from there on out. Paul, what did you think?
Definitely a great race here tonight. We only really had a couple of cautions there towards the end, and it was one of those deals where cautions just kind of bred cautions. So great race here tonight. Had a lot of fun down here in the production truck, and after listening to Tyler Dalton's interview there, I think we might go get some red spray paint and maybe spray up the rims here on the truck and see what we can do for next week. But speaking of next week, we're going to take a quick look here at the upcoming events here on Verdane TV. You'll see it right there next Tuesday. We're back with the RBR Maritime Group taking on the Xander Signs 125. And then next Wednesday, Kyle, you and I have been looking forward to this since the first one. Naps is joining us, the New England, Pennsylvania iRacing Series. They're going to be doing the Better Half Dash number 2. That's going to be the wives and the girlfriends of all the regular series drivers in that Grand National Series, sponsored by Shift Marketing and Design. They're going to be behind the wheel, and they were very entertaining last time. They're going to be running at Dover next Wednesday night, so be sure to check that out. Going to be taking a look at SIM500, as you said, Talladega next Thursday, and then Tuesday and Thursday of the following week, RBR Maritime there on the 20th, and then we join the NEPS guys for the Angry Tree Guy 20. I believe that is at... It's one of the road courses. It's the one right up here in Connecticut, Lime Rock Speedway. And then the Tim's Corner Motorsports Super Late Model 300 on November 20th. Going to be doing qualifying events all that week. And every single one of them going to be right here on Verdane TV. But a great race here tonight for the Kick-Ass Beef Jerky Classic Cup Series. Definitely be sure to check out kickassbeefjerky.com. Use that promo code SIM500 for 19% off. And we want to thank them for letting us stream to their Facebook page. Also, a quick shout out again to the Dick Trickle Memorial Page group. You guys streamed us as well, so it's pretty cool to see that 99 throwback paint scheme there. But for everybody here at Sim500, for everybody here at Verdane TV and the Sim500 Network, Kevin England, Kyle Young, and myself, Showtime, Paul Strickland Jr., we will catch you guys on the flip side. Have yourselves a great night.